It's a pleasure, to be here. So my name is Jenninah Kabiswa. In Uganda I'm Ugandan, by the way, though I live and work here. In Uganda we have many names. So if I was to tell you all my names, it would be like a sentence.
Okay.
But I just stick to Jenninah Kabiswa. I work with World Renew. I'm the country director. World Renew is a faith-based organization. We've been in Kenya since 1985, and we've been working with the Anglican Development Services. Different ones, including ADS Western. We work in the Pwani area, work with the Mount Kenya one, we work with Mount Kenya East, Central Rift Valley, and then here. We also have one direct implementation site in Turkana, where we decided to stay after a disaster response project. We didn't get a partner in time, and we've been working with a small CBO, community-based organization called ETOP. So our work is really around how do we strengthen with our partners institutions. We are one of the organizations that really like to strengthen institutions, and then those stronger institutions are now able to carry out work in the thematic areas. Food security, we do both long-term and short-term. We also do, the disaster responses, we also do a lot of work around livelihoods for women, for girls, for youth, men in the area, in the villages. We will not just stop at maybe savings, but we also want to say, can we add value to the crops you have grown? Can we teach you to work together and sell together? Can you have a bigger voice by doing advocacy and marketing together? So that's value addition. So that's part of the work that we do. But we also do a lot of work around spiritual formation. Because we are faith-based, when we come in, we don't come to say, all of you should become Christian. No, we come in to say, we are Christian, we've been brought here by the compassion and the guidance of God, and because these resources have been entrusted to us by God, we would like to share them with you. We want your livelihood to be better. We want you to remember that we do not come because we have so much, but because we have been entrusted with so much by God. So we do not hide our faith background. We like to share that, but we are open to working with all kinds of people. We also do a lot of maternal child health work. We find that in some of the areas, girls get pregnant and they can't afford to deliver in hospital, maybe because of tradition. Sometimes even the mothers-in-law might not think it's useful to deliver in hospital. So we work with them and then work with the health systems as well, the health centers, to ensure that the people who receive these teenage girls who are pregnant, that they can receive them well, that they do not have to ask them for so much that they don't have, and that these young girls now can go back, the teenage girls can go back and become the ones that mobilize, that teach, and let others know that it's possible to live a decent and dignified life. So that's the work that we do.
Okay, so one question about your childhood.
My childhood.
Yes.
So I come from the western part of Uganda. I come from a place called Mbara. One of the things that's very special for me in my childhood is about the life we lived. We lived together with my grandmom on my mother's side for a bit, because she was originally from Rwanda and she had lost all her family members. So when she got married and produced my mom, and then we came through. My grandmom lived with us for a bit. So she was a very, very strong believer. I do remember her. We would fall asleep. I was staying with her in the same room. She would start praying for us. So she would lay her hands on my head. I would fall asleep. And then I would wake up, she's still praying for me. I wake up, so I always used to wonder, when does she ever sleep? And she would pray about things that didn't make sense then, but now I think they make sense. One of the things that stood with me is she always prayed for people who are flying in the aeroplanes. And no one was flying in the aeroplanes, either her children or anyone I knew at that time. But looking now, I look at all my siblings. We are always flying in aeroplanes. So it was as if she was praying for things that she saw would come because of her relationship with God. And so as a result of that, I think all of us have found a very personal relationship with God. We don't have to belong to a particular faith or anything, but we have found that there's just that personal connection because of observing her life.
So maybe what are some of the things that according to your experience, especially in leadership, considering you are working with a very critical position, what are some of the things that define a good leader?
I think what I have seen, and of course I keep learning, I never finish learning, but what I have seen in my own experience is one of the things that define leadership, and a good leader is the willingness to take correction. So many times, because of the hierarchy and the position that we have, and the authority and power that it can actually bring, it can be criticized or seen as weakness when we receive feedback and we act on it, or when we listen and stop, or if we've given a particular direction and then someone speaks into it and they don't necessarily think it's as smart. I think a good leader is one that's able to stop, pause, listen, and change what might be needed to be changed. That's one of the things that I've found very, very helpful in my journey. Not only does it help that leader to actually excel together with the team, but it also removes vulnerabilities because maybe others around you are expecting you to have power and to speak with, but it takes away that fear, that insecurity, once you begin to receive the feedback, act on it, and see excellent results coming. Because for sure, whenever an organization excels, it's the leader that has excelled.
Yes.
Of course, all the staff have done a great job, but it will be like, oh, you've done a great job. And maybe all you did was to provide the strategy and the direction. So I found that to be very, very, very empowering, very affirming, but also gives the relief to just be who you are, who God has given you to be.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Actually, you see, I'm writing a lot of things. I'm learning also. And just checking, you're talking about listen, stop and listen. Then you act, either firmly and make sure that everyone feel accommodated. And I know this one is not like built in a day, that you'll just wake up and say, I'm discovering that people are loving me because I'm a good leader. Even you can be a good leader and people, there are those who will not like you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so this one is developed with culture, the organization culture. And we have seen time and before, the rise and fall of this big company is all about culture. A culture that was built. There are those that the process that were ignored and it ended up destroying everything. And there are those that observe even a smaller thing like punctuality, just arriving in time, and it saved them. So you can explain to us what is organization culture, how to build it, and why it's very important for an organization.
So I think the easiest way to describe an organizational culture is to describe it as the personality of that organization. When someone walks in and sees you and they engage with you as an individual, we see your personality. You're either quiet or you're engaging, or we can be like, oh, they're rude, or we can be like, oh, he's like this. It's the personality that we see. It's the personality we interact with. So that's how I like to define organizational culture. It's really the personality of that organization. What values do you espouse as an organization and as a team? What are the postures and beliefs that you carry, that you uphold? And how all these shape how your work gets done in your organization on a day-to-day basis. It's not just pop up, today you're excited and then that's it. No, it's just on a day-to-day basis how things get done. That's what I define as the culture of organization. How work gets done, how you interact as an organization. And I think it's very, very important because from experience as a leader, I have seen that all of us as leaders, we would like our organizations to excel. We want them to be the go-to places. We want them to have a good name. We want us to perform really well and excel, and especially in contexts where it's competitive. You're not the only organization. You're not the only bank. You're not the only. So it's very important for us as leaders that we pay attention. And that existing culture will ensure that your staff are either engaged or not engaged. There are places where we go and the staff are not engaged at all. If staff are not engaged, then it means there's no commitment. If there is no commitment, there's reduced productivity.
Yes.
And then, of course, you're looking at organizational performance. So how will you get that? That's one of the key reasons why it's very important that you have good culture for your organization. But the other thing is, in addition to engagement, and they are really related, is the fact that the higher engaged, the more the staff and teams are engaged, the more creative and innovative they become. Because they are in a safe place. They don't fear to innovate and make some mistakes, because they won't be killed. They won't be made to pay for that pen that broke as they were trying to innovate and do something. No, they will be congratulated. They will be encouraged. They will be affirmed. So the more the culture is safe, the more the culture is good, you'll be innovative, you'll be creative. And if you're innovative and creative, you're competitive. And that's what we all would like for our organization. The other thing is, as long as people feel safe, as long as people know that they are cared about, I'm talking about welfare, a good organizational culture will ensure that the staff are well taken care of. It means that there will be no burnout. You're excelling, you're innovative, you're creative, but you also know when to pause and rest. Why? Because your leaders are paying attention. They'll be asking you, what's going on? You don't look well today. But if your leader is not concerned about your welfare, they won't be able to ask that kind of question. But also it will come in the systems and the policies that they have. They'll ensure there's a space for people to have, their leave. They'll ensure there's a space for people to have welfare, any activity, whether it's teamwork, and it's not just ensuring in policies, but it's also putting a budget to it, because sometimes we really say these things, but we don't allocate any resources to them. That's another one. But one of the other things that I've really appreciated in our own organization is staff retention. When staff have a good culture, when the organization has a good culture, staff enjoy their work. They do not think about leaving. And it's not about, many times people think that, they are well paid. Yes, I'm not undermining paying people well. I'm not undermining staff benefits, but I'm speaking more to just that culture that feels like my work is recognized. My contribution is important. I know where I'm shooting to. Our organizational goals and values and everything is clear. When I do my work as a communications assistant, I know how it contributes to that goal that we are all working to. So the decision-making power is clear, the hierarchy is clear, but each person's contribution is recognized. That's the kind of culture that would produce the results that we look for as leaders, would produce the performance, would increase the finances. These days we are really fundraising. Yes. So that's what we are all looking for.
In your leadership, and there are those culture that you have set in the organization, especially maybe working with World Renew or any other organization that you were in before you came here. The positive one that you saw, this one really helped us, and one culture that maybe you ignored and it costed you either time, money or resources or even some staff leaving. Do you have any example
where where we struggled? When we started, I think it was 11 years ago is when I've been here. When I came in, we had a lot of changes and transitions, and so there was a lot of fear, there was no safety, there was, so when we started, I tried. I did most of the things I've talked about. I created a very open space. I would take feedback, I would listen to staff, would have one-on-one sessions, morale sessions, but there was one thing that we didn't do well, and that was the safeguarding. The pathways, how people express their dissatisfaction or express their feedback, whether it's positive or negative. But in a space where there's still a lot of fear and insecurity and a lack of safety, I think the safeguarding pathways was a key miss on our part. And 11 years ago, safeguarding was not something we were talking about so much. But as we started the process of wanting to be certified in our core humanitarian standards, we realized that that was a gap. And why we didn't realize it immediately, but I used to wonder, in spite of all that we had done, there would be times when I would get like feedback from either the global office or the regional office or another country director where someone is complaining about something. And I keep wondering, how come they are not coming to us? As management, we've been open and all that. Why? Because there was no pathway that could be trusted. There was no anonymous email. There was no anonymous telephone number that people could go to. So people were coming forth, but they were not feeling safe enough. So that was one thing that really we missed for a long time. And that took us a long time to improve our culture. I do imagine if we had had a place where those complaints, even the positive things, could go, and it could be resolved quickly, and it could be investigated, closed, and they have feedback. I have a feeling that our culture would have been strengthened many, many years before, and maybe wouldn't have invested as much time. So that's one clear gap that we missed for a long time. And from the time we put it there, like, we pay attention to it. We have focal points that will pick up the issues. We have a quarterly report that will give feedback to staff. Definitely we can see a lot of change, and most of it is now positive feedback, even including from the partners. So pathways that are safe, and people know that you'll actually follow through and act irrespective on who the complaint is about, whether they are high or low, gives the trust that people are looking for.
Money and time was not a problem.
Yes.
Which destination would you like to travel, and maybe what you would like to do?
Where would I like to travel and do? Right now, I think I can't even be choosing the destinations I love, because our children have left home.
Okay.
My son is in Canada, our daughter is in UK, the baby is going to university. So right now, if I had money and time, I and my husband would want to be visiting our children. Not that Canada is where we love most, or UK is where we love most, but right now, that's where they are. So we really miss our children, and we would love to just go this weekend, go visit them, another month, go visit the other, or come together as a family. So, but you said if. I don't have that kind of money yet.
How have you managed being a wife, a mother, a CEO, and not crashing?
Well, I do have, of course I have support. Like I said, our organization has very good culture. I have my leave days like everybody else. And because I know that many CEOs and leaders, we struggle, if I go, what will happen? But because we've been very intentional in building a good culture, that culture ensures that my welfare, just like my staff welfare, is taken care of. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're CEO, or we recognize that any of us can you can go away, you can fall sick, anything can happen, and that institution must continue. So I have my leave. I have 21 full days of leave, for sure. And the other thing is, even if I had run out of leave, we have so many options. I have a really good management team. We have constructed a team that is strong, and I wouldn't be worried at all. In fact, when I go to Uganda for my leave, I don't even worry at all, because the staff that are in place are well trained. They are well trusted. They have molded the values of the organization. I never worry. In fact, I keep thinking some of them are even smarter than I am. So sometimes I'm telling them, hey, maybe it's time I left, because you know everything. What am I doing here? That's how good and strong they are. So I have the time to be with my family. I have the time to be away. I have the time. I don't have to sit there and feel like I'm bound. So I think that's one thing. How the culture that builds structures and processes and systems that enable other people to do the work that you do, and even do it better. To be honest, to know that I'm not the best accountant in the world. I'm a country director, but I'm not a CPA. I am a country director, but I wouldn't know how to hold those cameras that you're holding. So why not strengthen the teams to do the work they do so well? And it doesn't mean that providing the direction providing the coaching, the mentorship is not important. It is, but as long as I have built that kind of team, I have the liberty to do what I want to do. So I have time for my family, I have time for the office, I have time for myself. I'm one of those people that really treasure my own time. I call it personal retreats. And I have modeled it for my family. They understand it when I need to step away and be on my own and rest and seek my God and just restore and renew. I step away 5 days and it's absolutely okay.
Okay, thank you so much. It has really been a very productive conversation.
But that will be very nice. I'll be excited because that's what gives me joy and causes me to flourish. If you do something and you come back and it's still there and it's grown and got better than you did it, you know you did well. If you come back and it's dried up, then you know, like, hey, I need to check myself.